Over the last couple of weeks, we've been doing a whole lot of jumping up and down the number line, learning how we incorporate negatives into the basics of math. One situation we haven't come across yet is this. What does it mean when, in the middle of your problem, you have a plus sign and a negative sign stacked up right next to each other? How do you add a negative? Luckily, there's a very simple rule. See, if you add a negative thing to your life, if a new bad thing enters your life, that's a negative situation. That's not a good thing. And adding a negative is the same thing as subtracting. Things are going down the number line if you add a negative. Just like if you add a bad thing to your daily existence, your life is probably not better for it. So, if we see a situation where we have plus, minus stacked right next to each other in the middle of a problem, we can just pretend that plus sign doesn't even exist. 5 plus negative 3 is the same as 5 minus 3, which is, of course, 2. Negative 5 plus minus 3 is the same thing as negative 5 just minus 3. We can get rid of the plus sign. Negative 5 minus 3, start at negative 5, go 3 back, and you end up at negative 8. What about the other possible train wreck in the center of an arithmetic problem? 5 minus negative 3, or negative 5 minus negative 3. There is a simple rule for this as well, and an analogy to be made to real life. If you get rid of a bad thing, so you subtract a negative thing from your life, well, that's good. Getting rid of a bad thing is a positive experience, and that bears out in the math as well, because subtracting a negative is the same as adding. So 5 minus negative 3, we can turn those two negatives into a big plus. Two wrongs do make a right in arithmetic. So 5 minus negative 3 is the same as 5 plus 3, which is 8. And negative 5 minus negative 3, that's the same as negative 5 plus 3. Start at negative 5 plus 3, you end up at negative 2. Okay, let's move on to another set of examples. Let's say we have 12 plus negative 8. Remember, adding a negative is the same thing as subtracting, so we can just pretend the plus sign isn't even there. 12 minus 8, that's 4. How about 12 minus negative 8? Subtracting a negative is the same thing as adding. Two wrongs make a right. The two negative signs become a big plus sign. 12 plus 8 is, of course, 20. Negative 12 plus negative 8. Again, adding a negative is the same as subtracting, so we get rid of the plus sign. Negative 12 minus 8, negative 20. And finally, negative 12 minus negative 8. These back-to-back minus signs can be turned into a big plus, and we have negative 12 plus 8, which is negative 4. As a reminder, there is a piece of homework in your homework folder on OneNote. It's due by the next class, and I'll see you tomorrow morning.